And welcome back to Survivor Girl. Happy Survivor Girl Sunday, everybody. I'm so glad that you are joining in tonight. Last week, I had a really fun show where I was able just to kind of go off and by myself. And again, this week I am by myself. I have Tony with a microphone that's going to be joining in. If there's any questions or anything, he's going to help me field those because we are live on YouTube and also on Twitch, which is awesome. And then we are re-aired again on solidstateradio.net. If you haven't checked them out, please go over and check them out. If you want to keep up to date with everything that we're doing, what we're up to these days, you can go to Strange Friends Media SFM on Facebook and see where we're at. If we have something going on and we're able to have people join us, you guys can definitely join in. I just want to start out, though, first with a disclaimer that I am not a therapist. I cannot prescribe or treat or anything like that. I do have mental first aid under my belt. I'm certified there. However, I am just basically doing Survivor Girl to share my story, and when I have guests on, they share theirs as well to help uplift and hopefully help whoever is going through the same thing see and feel that they are not alone. So I just wanted to get that out before I get started here. And I'm going to do a little bit of a recap. If you did not join last week, I want to go over a little bit of things that I did discuss, and you can go back, which is awesome, on YouTube and check out YouTube's channel. And Twitch only stays on for a couple weeks, but YouTube videos are always archived. So you can go back and watch that episode, see what we talked about a little bit more if I bring something up that you're interested in hearing about. So last week we kind of went over, or I went over talking about being too much. I read a little thing from another author that really kind of brought together what I felt about myself throughout my life of being too much, where you feel like you push people away because you do these things that you think people can't handle. Well, to be quite honest with you, I'm going to touch a little bit back on that because the true people that do love you will understand, or they will talk with you about it to try to understand a little bit better. We all go through so many different things in life, whether it is depression, anxiety, there's all kinds of mental health things. Also, you know, when we worry about how we look, our bodies, anything that we have that we're afraid that other people might judge about or whatever. There's all kinds of different things in life that we go through that we are conscious about, self-conscious about. And, you know, I kind of feel like that I'm too much kind of thing kind of summed that up to help me to understand. And I think a lot of listeners that joined in last week to understand as well, which was really awesome. I want to give a huge shout out to everybody who inboxed myself and Tony last week, letting us know that they really enjoyed the show, that they could identify with what I was talking about last week. And that made me feel so good. And I'm going to be honest with you guys. When I get those kind of messages, it made me feel super good inside. It made me feel that I'm going on the right path. And, you know, that's a huge thing. Starting out with this podcast, I didn't really know where the direction was going to go, what was going to happen, other than just getting together and sharing our stories. At the time, I had Becky as my co-host. We both shared our stories. And then we'd have guests come on and share their stories of thriving and surviving. And I knew that that was something that I definitely wanted to do. And we're going to continue to have more guests on. As we navigate through everything that's going on and getting back in the studio and doing all these kinds of things and living life again, which I'm super excited to have people come in because we're going to talk about all kinds of different subjects to try to hit on, you know, all kinds of things that maybe we haven't hit on before. Because there's so many things out there in life that everybody is trying to thrive and survive through. And it's so important to not let them go by the wayside. So I'm hoping that whoever comes and joins me on the show speaks to you as well. If not, you know, when I'm talking, I hope that I'm reaching people as well. Which last week, like I said, the messages and the inbox and everything was incredible. I thank you guys and I appreciate you guys reaching out. It was very positive. And it made me feel very emotional, to be honest with you guys. It hit me really, really in my heart that I am doing the right thing by talking about being real. wearing my heart on my sleeve and just being honest with you guys. And it's led me to something else that I kind of want to get into today. But I'm going to continue to recap a little bit more about what we talked about last week. Because last week, not only did I talk about being too much, I talked about being a button pusher, which I continue to find myself doing this past week throughout the heat and every little thing that I was kind of dealing with. And, I kind of had a little bit of heat exhaustion. And, when you're out in the hot heat and you've got a little bit of anxiety about stuff, if you've ever experienced this, you get a little testy. And it pushes you a little bit to maybe come off as being a little jerk. Which I kind of felt like I was. And, it's awesome. And I'm not trying to throw this in anybody's face, but it's awesome to have Adam, who I can actually have a good open communication with, because if I feel like I am totally just being a bit over the top with some things, it's nice to be able to talk to him and he's like, no, actually I don't see it that way, but I will tell you the truth if I do feel that that's how it's going, which is incredible. And I hope that you guys will be able to, if you have a significant other or if you have a friend in your life that you want to talk to about certain things and you feel, I hope that the communication does open. I know there's a lot of times in my life where my communication kind of dips a little bit when it comes to navigating and trying to figure out what's going on in my mind and my life and trying to get priorities. And sometimes it feels like I push people away, and I feel like it does. And, it's up and down. It just depends on where I'm at. Sometimes I want to talk all the time. Other times I just can't communicate. And I think that's a part of having a little bit of ADHD, PTSD, depression, and anxiety. That can shut you down when you are moving really well towards something or towards a future, towards a goal, towards whatever it is that you're working on, and something comes up that you don't know how to manage or don't know how to actually discuss, which does happen. And I did say, yes, I appreciate Adam being able to communicate with me because it's incredible to have that and to help me look into the positive direction. There's been some situations where I'm like, oh, I feel like this is what's really happening. And I start to feel like I'm getting a little bit sour with the subject. And he'll say, but honey, if you look at it this way, there was this going on. And you need to think about the whole thing as to what this person might have been thinking and why they were acting in that way, which I appreciate that because not always are we able to look at that. And it's kind of cool to have that kind of dynamic. So, I was talking about the button pushing and all that stuff, and it seemed like across the board, I was seeing hands raising in the studio. I was seeing stuff on chat that other people feel like they do the exact same thing. So, I think it's just human to see, especially if you've gone through any kind of trauma, to see how far that you can push your significant other, to see if they're going to stick around and if they can make it, which is sad. It's sad that we have to do that or that we do that, as human beings. And I feel that a lot, especially through quarantine and everything. I feel like we started out amazing. Like we were doing really good. We had a lot of stuff that we could do, but you only go so far before you're just like, okay, we're doing the same thing every day. Every day. And I'm thankful because we had stuff to do, which was awesome. We were able to get out. We're into nature, but also I just felt like I was kind of like nitpicking a little bit here and there at him and stuff, which he's gracious about and didn't feel like I was. But in my mind, I'm going, wait a minute. You got to tell me the truth here because it really feels like I'm trying to get you. So, I just wanted to go back and kind of recap a little bit about that. I touched a little bit more on what happened with me going through cancer and having to grow up pretty quick. Had a conversation with my brother a couple weeks ago too, because we are experiencing the same kind of situation on my mom's side of the family, where somebody that is very dear to us is losing their battle with cancer right now, and it's bringing up that whole thing again. It's bringing up how I felt in that time. It's around the same time of year when my mom was diagnosed, so it is bringing back, because you do, when you go through something like that as traumatic, from what I've discussed with my therapist, you can experience PTSD. PTSD is not just about going through a traumatic situation in the war or in active duty or anything like that. It does happen. That is a very huge one for people that serve. But it can happen with situations like that, or situations where, me losing Zach. And I've talked about that in the past episodes. You can go back and check those out. From the very beginning, you can find the story of what happened and what brought me to Survivor Girl. I believe in episode 1, I started talking about that, and you can go back through and listen to those. And it's been, I think this is episode number 41 that we're on. So there's a lot of episodes, but they are archived on my YouTube channel here where you guys are hanging out with me, which I, again, thank you guys so much. A lot more likes and subscribes. You guys are sharing, and I appreciate it from the bottom of my heart. Like I said, the emotional, I get emotional about these things. When I got those messages in my inbox, I did cry. I'm going to be honest. I showed my emotions and my hurt. I felt it. I felt that it was something very deep and very real, that I connected with somebody, even if I had not met them, or if I have met them, to be able to go to something, further with knowing who these people are or not, is an incredible feeling to know, okay, last week I was real. I opened up. I showed you guys who I really am, part of who I really am. And I'm getting more comfortable with that, because I feel like a lot of people hide too many times who they are, where they've come from, what brings them down sometimes, what brings them back to maybe a lower level at times, and things that they navigate through life. And I'm trying to show, hey, this is me. I've gone through a lot. I've been through a lot of different situations. I have not been a perfect person in my life. When we talk about button pushing, it's not just my significant other that I've pushed buttons on, other people as well. But I'm learning how to navigate through that and try to be a better person because of that. There's still a lot of conversations that I feel like I do need to have in my life with people that I love, that I might have pushed away and not realized it, or, just there's been a dip in our life where we just aren't connecting or something. There's things that I feel still need to be communicated on. I don't know how to approach some of those things. I don't know, but I am learning and I am growing, and I appreciate the people who are giving me that space to be able to grow and to learn and to apologize, to talk things out, to grow on a different level. This is is this my last? No. I've got 2 weeks, I think, left until my birthday. 2 weeks left in my 30s. And that is not hitting me as hard as I thought it would be. However, I did ask, for some advice on people that have gone before me into their 40s. I remember, and I touched a little bit on this last week. I remember when my mom was hitting 40, she was having a rough time with it. She had a really rough time with 40. And I'm trying not to go down that, because I have enough stress and anxiety that I put on myself throughout the days. And I'm trying not to go there. I'm trying to find ways to where I can just relax, take a deep breath, and try to grow. I think that's so important, no matter what age that you are at, that you can continue to grow and find the things that work best for you, no matter where you are at in life. And that's not always easy. Starting out as a baby and going into your teens, whatever, you have your parents that are helping you to grow. In some cases, I come from a household that was separated. I grew up with both of my parents until I was about age 9, and then my mom and dad separated. So to go back and forth, that's a really rough situation. And if you've ever had to experience that in your life, that brings on a whole nother set of problems. And I'm not blaming it on them, because sometimes in life, you're just not meant to be with a person that you think you're supposed to be with when you get married. And I felt that as my mom and dad, and seeing them just not happy with each other, you could see the writing on the wall, even at that young age. Like, I picked up on a lot of things at a young age. And, I wanted them to be together, and you go through that whole thing. If you've ever experienced this in your life with losing, or your parents getting a divorce or whatnot, if you've ever experienced that kind of separation and everything, your first thought is, what did I do wrong? I'll be a better kid, especially if you're young. I'll be better. I'll do this, I'll do whatever to help you guys stay together, whatever. And I think that a lot of people feel that and have went through that as a young kid or however age. And I'm seeing hands again in the studio. And some of that I think stems to part of where we're at now when we get older or on the path to getting older, because some of my listeners are not even close to my age. We have ages all over, older than me, younger than me, whatnot. So if you are still in that, my biggest thing, 20s and younger, if you are listening in, just remember that it's probably most likely not your fault. A lot of times parents just don't mesh. Something happens, they're not good for each other. And I feel like after a while, my mom and dad were kind of like oil and water until they got past that awkward phase of separation of their stuff and getting through the divorce. Because actually I think my parents were still married, I think for 6 or 9 years or something, until they actually finally divorced. They were separated, but then they finally made it official that they were divorced. So you feel like in your heart like it's your fault that you did this, that's why they broke up. And I think that part of that stems into where I'm at now. As an adult, clearly thinking back to it, I know now it wasn't my fault. I wasn't a bad kid. I didn't do a lot of things to cause any kind of issues for my parents to not want to be together or love each other anymore. But I still kind of feel sometimes where I say I am sorry a lot. And it's one thing that I can't stand, because I'll say I'm sorry even if I know I didn't do something wrong. And that's hard. That is a hard thing to kind of rewire in your brain. And if you're listening and you feel this too, it's going to take work, my friends. I think it's going to take us some time to get through that and realize, okay, wait a minute. This isn't our fault. Like, somebody dropping their ice cream as you're walking by them, unless you legitly like hit them in the arm and made them drop it, not your fault. Start rewiring yourself and rewording. Oh, like, if there's something that happens that comes up and I can't make it to it, there always is that guilt. And I'm sure that you guys have felt this too. A guilt of having to say, sorry, I can't go. Or if you were planning on it and something else changes and you can't make it, there's still like a tiny little bit there where you're like, oh man, how do I tell them I can't make it? Or what? You tell them the truth. I can't make it because, or simple as, I'm sorry, I cannot make it. If they ask for an explanation, then you talk to them about it. But honestly, if you just can't, you can't. And I've experienced some of this stuff throughout my life, or I've had issues where I haven't felt quite good enough to go to a situation. And I talk about this right now because there's a lot of things happening to where we should not go to things if we're not feeling good. That's one of the best things that I think we can do, is if you're not feeling good, stay home. And to explain that to somebody, and there's a lot of that going on with mental health. If you're not feeling it, because there's a lot going on in our world today. You wake up one morning feeling fantastic and ready to take anything on. The next day you might wake up and not feel so good. And you might not want to be able to go or be around a lot of people. And that's okay, but you have to be able to own that. And then, let them know. Tell them, yeah, I can't make it. You don't have to tell them the whole story. You don't have to go on, and you don't have to make something up. Don't do that. First off, just don't make something up. If you're staying home and you just can't make it, just be honest and say, I can't make it. I can't make it. And then if they ask for explanation, well, maybe you don't feel good. Maybe you're in the bathroom all day. Just tell them. Who cares? They're adults. They'll understand. I've struggled with that a lot in my life. And so that's why I bring that up. So that's another little rant. I think these are just like Heather rants that are happening. But that's okay, because we're touching on a lot of things that are real. A lot of things that people are legitly feeling and going through. And that's okay. So, another thing that I'm learning as I'm hitting closer to 40 is I've been reading this really cool book, and I did not write it down, but I will put it in. If Dawn, I know you're listening. I love you. If you can remind me to put this picture of the book and tell what this book is. It was my mom's book. I've been reading it over, and there's a little passage each day. It talks about it touches on different things. Like last month was about gardening, and it was really cool how they brought it in. The month before was about getting your space together and really bringing it together and finding your own personality. Like here I am, 39, and a lot of the stuff at my home was given to me or inherited like from my mom, or from family members or whatnot. And I put my own personal touches and stuff in there, but the main furniture was given to me. And I'm thankful for that. I have not had to really buy any furniture, I think, other than maybe one shelf. So that's awesome. So I've started to incorporate it. You can always refinish, you can always, whatever it is to make it your space. So there's all kinds of different things in this book, and it's really, really cool book. I will post a picture of it when I'm done, an author. It's an older book too, so you should be able to find it at a good price. And one of the things that they talk about in it, and it's something more that I kind of want to delve into as I am growing and learning and all this stuff, is authentic self. And I've mentioned it before on the podcast about authentic self. So what is authentic self? So this is the definition that I got off of offline and throughout the book. Authentic self is who you truly are as a person, regardless of your occupation, regardless of the influence of others. It is an honest representation of you. To be authentic means not caring what others think about you. All right, guys. So all of you that are tuned in right now and that are tuning in, have you ever felt that? I'm sure we all have. We've all felt that if I wear this specific shirt, if I act this certain way, that this person might like me better. This person, and I know that's something else as growing up that we've experienced, trying to keep up with, oh, that person has those shoes, I gotta have those. So I'll be in, I'll be cool, whatever. And even going into my 40s, I still see some of that stuff, It's about keeping up, as they say, keeping up with the Joneses. Well, they have this, I want that. Well, for me, let's be honest here, guys. I'm gonna just be honest with you. I have 2 vehicles. That sounds amazing, right? That sounds great that you have 2. Actually, technically, we have 3 vehicles. Guess what, guys? Rusted buckets, they are. 2 of them are horribly rusted out. My one that I am driving right now, because it gets me to and from where I need to, has no muffler at all. It is completely rusted out. It is the loudest thing. You will hear me coming from wherever. My other one is currently parked in the drive because it has no brakes, which is not actually mine, it's Adam's. And then the other one is having transmission issues right now. Not exactly something that you would be excited about when you're almost 40 or any age, honestly. But you know what? I'm going to tell you something. It's not the end of the world. My vehicle went down. Yeah, it bothered me. It set me back for just a little bit. Trying to figure out, okay, how are we going to get new vehicles? What can we spend? Do I really want to be under the thumb of another car payment? These vehicles break down because guess what? They're paid off. We own them. And we take pride in that. But, it is kind of where you want your situation to be. Yeah, it's not the best situation. Can I turn them in and get money for them? Probably. It's not going to be a whole lot, but it could be something towards something new or newish, because we really don't want to go under those payments again. But as I'm driving here today, I said, you know what? This is my car. I bought it 6 years ago when I got money from being sick from my insurance for having cancer. And it's got me through. It's got me every place that I need to, with very few issues other than cosmetic. Losing a muffler, okay, that's a bigger issue. But it still gets me down the road. It gets me where I need to go. I'm proud to say that. I got a vehicle. It's falling apart. It doesn't look great, but guess what? It's mine. It's paid off, and it's helping me to get to where I need to until I can get something else or we can get something else together. So that's, I was thinking of that all the way. And a part of becoming your authentic self is taking off that mask. Taking off what you hide behind. Who you want people to make you, who you want people to think that you are, or who you should be, or what. And that's not always easy. And one of those things, as we all look in the mirror and we think about ourselves, what we want to look like. Oh, I've got this wrinkle here. I've got scars. I break out, and I'm almost 40. I still got breakouts. Wear makeup, which I'm not going to say bad things about makeup because I like makeup. However, let's get real here, guys. Let's take it off. Let's be ourselves. Be comfortable in who you are. So let's do this. You don't always have to be putting your best face forward. You can be comfortable in who you are, in your own skin, and trying to find out that is complicated. It can be messy. I'm almost 40 and I'm just now starting to kind of figure it out. So with me, I'm going to get real with you even further. And I'm going to start taking off some of my makeup because you know what? This is who I am. And I'm embracing in it. That car out in the driveway that's falling apart, that's part of who I am right now. Is that forever? No, it's not. This is. This is forever because this is me. And it's going to, and then, yeah, it's going to change. But I need to learn how to love myself with or without the makeup on, with or without stretch marks being apparent because I have them. I have them all up and down my arm. I've got arms that are flabby. I went for the bariatric, and we've talked about that several times. And if you are just now tuning in, you know that. You know I've talked about that journey, and it leaves you with a lot of skin, loose skin, because going from 350 pounds to down to where I'm at right now, of course there's going to be skin. So I'm learning how to adjust to that, how to adjust to who I am now, and trying to let go of all of this stress that I hold on myself each and every day to look, to put my makeup on. I am not professional. There are so many YouTube videos that you can watch that show you how to put makeup on with all these fancy brushes and everything. No, not me. I use my fingers to put all my makeup on. I don't have anybody that puts all my makeup on. I do it myself. You know, maybe someday I'll have that privilege to have somebody do it for me because I want to, but I don't right now, and that's okay. Let's just get real though with who we are. Why can't we be ourselves out in public, online, over Facebook, genuinely, authentically? This isn't. It's not an easy thing, and obviously, like I said, my makeup isn't perfect, so you can probably still see imperfections with or without. But you know, I felt like if I'm gonna be honest and be on Survivor Girl and tell you guys where my heart's at on my sleeve, I might as well do this for you too, because this is me. And I'm not ashamed of that. And that's what going into my 40s means. Not being ashamed of what I look like. If I have wrinkles, probably raccoon eyes after this because I can't see what I'm doing. But that's me. A mess some days. A hot mess some days. Where I lay around for a little while. Try to talk myself into making my coffee. Well, that's not really. I don't have to talk myself into that. That's an everyday. But getting up and doing the creative movement, I call because I hate the word exercise. It just sounds evil. So I've changed it to creative movement. And that was another thing I found out in that book too, is to change it to creative movement because you know what? That helps. It helps you get off your butt. We're human. What do we want? Why would we want to overdo it? Why would we want to push ourselves and have our heart race like that? Honestly, I'm thankful because now that I can do it, it's amazing. I don't want to do it every day though. I'm going to be true to you guys. I should do it every day because my heart has been the best it's ever been in my life. And to take care of that and take care of myself should be a top priority. It's not always easy. And then as I'm getting older, I've already started to experience some really fun stuff where, you know, your taste buds change. Snap, crackle, and pop is your body, not your cereal anymore. What's up? Tony's got a mic today too, so and he's making some. What's up?
Well, I was going to say if you were being completely honest with everyone. Let me adjust this.
Okay.
I was going to say if you're being completely honest with everybody, to show them the wipe that you're using, and
Oh yeah.
we have a ton of stuff blowing up in chat. I'm getting inbox messages.
Yeah, here mine's not as bad as somebody's, but here is if you guys can see that's makeup, and that's another thing too I wanted to point out to you guys as a cancer survivor. Um, one of our best. I don't even really want to use the same one again because it looks so gross, but here we go. One of the things that I have to be conscious about too is all the chemicals that I use on a daily basis, and I don't think a lot of us realize how much chemical is in the stuff that we use. We just assume that because it's on the shelves that it's safe for us, and that is definitely not the case. So I've had to learn how to kind of find things that are way better for myself than, and this looks like it hurts, it don't, but to find things that are better for myself to keep myself. I mean, cancer can always be inevitable anyway. Like my family has been hit hard with all kinds of various cancers, not just the same stuff. And so for me, less chemical is the best way to go, whether it's preserves in food, makeup, anything that helps to make your house smell good. You generally has a lot of chemicals. I have gone to the essential oils, and I know people will joke about it. There's a meme that goes around with like an army guy holding another army guy, and he's like, "Oh, you're gonna be safe. I'll get the lavender." And I know that's all fun and games and good stuff, but there is a lot of stuff that actually does really work. And I've learned not only just Tony, you and I have talked about eating things differently, changing up diets and routines and stuff, and that has helped a lot. So I don't know if you guys can see if I've got some raccoons or whatever, but that's fine. I don't care. I wake up like this. But okay, so what do you got over there?
That's what took me so long to get on the mic because I was actually smashing a salad from Subway and trying not to crunch and be inconsiderate while you were doing your opening dissertation.
Right.
Which, by the way, nice 30-minute segue of doing all of this stuff. But I digress. Let me get to the chat on Twitch. Candy chimes in and says, "Hello, sis." She brings up a really neat point. She says, "I don't feel like a button pusher, but I do think me being a hot mess would make someone run." When you were talking about being the hot mess express,
Oh yeah.
and she said, "Also, I'm guilty of saying I'm sorry."
It's a huge thing, and it's a big habit, and it's not just with females. Men do it too. It's not just one sex across the board or anything. It is a lot of us do it, and I think a lot of it happens with some of the things that we've grown up with. Not everybody, but there's I don't know what the statistics are on the divorce rate anymore, but it seems like more and more. I mean, when I was younger, it was very unheard of. Not very many people. Um, there wasn't a lot of divorces back when I was younger, but now as I'm older, I see there's more and more people that get divorced, and that it is really hard on a child to go through that. But another thing that is hard too is staying in a relationship because of your child as well. So I mean, there's a lot, and I kind of touched a little bit about that because my parents, when they divorced, they were friends after they got past all of the tough things when it comes to divorce. Did you find a divorce rate? Are you
Let's
looking?
see here. It says, oh, this is the marriage and divorce rates. I'm trying to find one. What is the current divorce rate? Holy cow. The current divorce rate of 2020, some 39% of marriages in the United States are ending in divorce.
Oh wow,
And that's just so far this year.
wow.
And
Well, and I can imagine too. I've seen a lot more issues because of going into quarantine. It does really change a lot of things up dynamically in a relationship. There's a lot of things that were probably already coming to a head as before we went into the pandemic.
yeah.
And now there's a lot more divorces and everything. And I'm not bringing this up to pinpoint or anything on anybody or whatever to make anybody feel bad, but I noticed that there is a lot more of that kind of stuff happening. And I talked a little bit, I think, with one of my family members about it and how thankful that they are, that I have Adam and whatnot, because yeah, I'm not saying that we're perfect, and we've talked about that, and eventually at some point we'll probably come on and talk a little bit more about our life and some of the stuff that we've gone through to kind of help other couples that have gone through things. But we do try our best to go, okay, yeah, that sucks, but I'm not giving up on you, and you're not giving up on me. And, we continue to kind of navigate through, because honestly, when we came together, we both had baggage. We both have been married before. We both gone through, situations in our life that probably should have been attended to more before we got into the relationship, but it didn't work that way. And, that's okay too. That's not always, I mean, if you wait, it's the same thing with waiting until your life is perfect before you have kids, or you have, you go to do certain things that you've been wanting to do in your life. It's not always going to be ideal. And I think if we wait too long sometimes on wanting to do things, that you're going to miss out on opportunities. So, we took the plunge. He got with me before I had lost Zach. It had been a year since his death. And that in itself wasn't that easy to try to move forward. You never move on from something like that, because honestly, with him, we didn't have a long time together. We were still just kind of getting to that point, and where we were going to go. Okay, well, what are we doing now? What's next for us? And unfortunately, he had lost his life, and you can go back and listen to that episode. I'm not really going to dive too much into that. But it was just a little bit over a year, and Adam and I had gotten together after that. I still had, some of Zach's stuff, and and he was always good about that. Don't put that away. Don't hide it. Don't, if you're feeling an emotion, if you're missing him, whatever, talk to me about it. And that's another thing incredible. And I'm not here to, just dote on Adam. There's times him and I have our roundabouts or whatever. And, it's not always perfect. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm being honest with you guys right now. It's not always perfect. And, we've gone through some pretty crazy stuff in almost 3 years. And that's okay. And we are not afraid to talk about it and be real about it and be like, yeah, we've gone through some serious stuff. But, sometimes you don't want to give up. And sometimes it feels like that's the only option that you have. And I'm not talking about us, but I'm talking in general. Sometimes you just don't have it in you to continue to keep moving forward. Sometimes you're just tired. Sometimes it's not going to work. Sometimes you can't fix or help. I don't want to say that you should fix each other, because you shouldn't fix each other. You should fix yourselves equally and help each other through the process. Because if you're trying to always fix each other, I think that's just a recipe for disaster in the end. To help somebody stand up, that's cool. Help each other, learn each other, love each other. We have things that we do that, I am definitely into crafting, creating, and whatnot. He is an outdoorsman, and, I fished when I was younger, but I didn't fish to the point where I do now. And getting out on water, we got together before I went and had my surgery, and I didn't want to date. I really honestly felt that if I got with somebody, that I was going to end up like I did when I was married. And there was a discussion of being scared that if I went under the knife, that I wouldn't come out on the other side. And I was so afraid that that was going to happen. That, I was going to invest, or someone else was going to invest in me and be like, yeah, I don't think you should really go and do that, because, you just shouldn't in case something bad happens. Well, this is life. Any given moment, something bad could happen. That's just how it is. We don't know what we're up against. We don't know what we're going to face. We don't know what can happen to our bodies. We don't know what's what. So, I was afraid of being held back on that again, because for all my life, since I was the age of, I think, 5 years old, I started gaining weight, legitly gaining weight. By the time I was 9, I think I was in a size 16 in juniors, I believe, and that was in jeans that somebody gave me, and they was a struggle to fit into. I went up and down throughout my life with weight. Younger, going through the situations that I'd gone through, um, losing, my parents separating and whatnot. Went to eating my feelings, and if anybody else has ever experienced this, and sometimes you don't even realize that you're doing it. I still have times where if I get a little bit stressed and I go to the kitchen, Animal will be like, "You good? What's going on?" And I'll have to stop myself and go, "Wait a minute. We don't do that anymore. Like, get out of the food. You're not even hungry." Which is another thing in itself, and it's hard to work through those problems. If you've ever experienced being somebody who eats food to kind of push your feelings down, and then goes through situations with gaining weight. And then, of course, as I got older, I'd lose, and then I'd start gaining weight. And then my senior year, from the time that I was in middle school until my senior year, I went from 208 pounds in middle school in eighth grade, to 300 pounds by my senior year graduating. And I do also have polycystic ovarian syndrome. That is something that is metabolic. I've talked about it on other shows as well. It is very difficult to lose weight. It is very easy to gain weight, but there are some cases where people that have polycystic ovarian syndrome are not overweight, are not obese, and are able to lose weight. So between the emotional eating, my genes, and going through polycystic ovarian syndrome, I kind of did one of these numbers until I was just way up there. And by the time I was or just made the decision to go and do the weight loss surgery, I was 350 pounds at 5'1". Heart issues, high blood pressure, um, diabetes, all kinds of really bad, funky things. So to be here today, I just want to tell you guys, I'm thankful and I'm grateful. My life is completely different. I still struggle sometimes with food and different things because the surgery does not change your mind. I still go through some things. I still have to learn different stuff. But let me tell you what, being able to do 5-10 miles on a bike is incredible. Being able to go for a walk without, with being able to still breathe and get out and enjoy going out in a kayak. We did, I think, close to 3 or 4, maybe 5 miles one day. And man, it was incredible to feel that, The main thing, yes, I've always had an issue with my body and not liking it, not caring about it. So I'd hide behind big clothes. Even now, I will still have like a gut thing. I don't have it on right now, but sometimes I do because of the extra skin. And if I don't feel comfortable in something, I will wear it. And I'm not trying to sound hypocritical in any way, but sometimes you just got to do something that makes you feel better about yourself. But I'm honest about it. I do. I have a suck it all in kind of deal. And I know a lot of women that do. And it's funny because Adam will sometimes look at me and go, why you wear that? Like what are you doing? And I think it's crazy because as women, it's something that we don't talk about to other ladies, but we don't like other guys to know that. And I wonder, like, as a man, how do you feel about that? Because you guys don't walk around. I don't think a lot of you would walk around with a suck it all in kind of deal or makeup or any of that stuff. Like, you guys don't get to hide any imperfections or try to. How does that for you?
Are you asking?
I'm asking you because you got a mic. I'm asking you.
See, I'm a bit different because I legit don't care, but it's one of those things where pardon the expression, but most guys can relate to this, of playing the game of whose is bigger, whether it's car or bank account or house or, anatomy. It's one of those things where, the physical stuff really doesn't matter. But in the same token, when you're next to a certain specimen, you're going, wow, I should really, lose a few extra pounds, or I should really tone up the muscle I have. It's completely different with guys in the aspect that it's not so much physical, and it's kind of a crappy double standard because women put all of this effort into attempting to be perfect, but in my opinion, where the perfection comes in is the imperfections.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, it's just, and I know that probably sounds cliche, but it's honest because that's you talk about being your true self.
Mm-hmm.
That's you. Imperfections and all. I mean, there was a quote, and I can't remember who said it. I want to say it was Olivia Wilde, that you're a beautiful disaster.
I believe you're correct on who that is, and I know a lot of days. We've had this discussion for Survivor Girl. Generally, like today, I decided that I was just going to wear a basic T-shirt, whatever. I am comfortable in a basic T-shirt. However, I am comfortable in dressing up as well. And I can go from really low key to sweatpants and a ratty T-shirt to, wearing something like my new favorite thing is because I'm still trying to find out what my authentic self is and not care about what anybody thinks what I wear. And that's not me going, oh, wear your age, wear something that fits your age or whatever. It's me trying out new stuff, and I'm enjoying it because I'm gonna give a shout out to Gypsy Junk. They've got some really cool like kimonos and different kind of outfits and stuff, and I'm exploring these things. I bought a pair of glasses that are probably 50 times bigger than my face, but you know what? I wear them and I freaking love them.
They are awesome.
I don't care though. Like I don't, I'm thankful. Thank you for thinking that they're awesome. But I'm to that point though in my life where I want to try. Like I'm alive. And I want to try things. Like, why hold back? Okay, it's difficult. It's difficult when you're trying to navigate finding your authentic self, and then turning into a new age. I'm leveling up, to 40, but I'm excited. How exciting is that? I get the chance to turn 40, and I look in the mirror, and like I said, I've got, you might not be able to see them, but I do have wrinkles on my forehead, and I always bring it up because Adam and I are definitely different in age. We're 11 years apart, which sounds probably crazy to some people, but whatever. So for me, because he's younger, I'm always like, I got like wrinkles here, and I got this, and at some point in time, I need to learn how to go. Okay, I don't give a crap if you're 11 years difference. You're the man that I'm with. I love you. You love me. Whatever.
Right.
We're gonna have wrinkles. We're gonna have gray hairs. I still have not, like, I haven't dyed mine since everything's happened. But I don't go looking, but I still have not found any yet, which is awesome. But it took a long time before my mom even started to get gray. Wow, I don't even have one single gray hair yet. I'm surprised. I'm your child. Like, that shocks me. Shocks me. So,
We got more stuff in the chat.
okay.
Candy chimes in and says, "We can't live in fear. Embrace every moment of every day. Go for that dream job. Move somewhere new. Ask that special person to be yours. If you don't take the risks, you will regret it."
Absolutely, like 100%. Everything that you just said, Candy, seriously. Like, for instance, we had an amazing weekend. We spent time with family, friends, things. Everybody was able to do their own thing, whatever. And then on our way, we got coffee this morning. My order wasn't right, but I wasn't a Karen. Sorry if I offend any Karens. Just saying.
You didn't want to speak to the manager?
No, I didn't want to talk to the manager, but I looked at Adam and I said, this isn't what I normally get. Like, something just isn't right. And he says, well, go say something about it. And I'm not that person to say something. I'm not that person, but he's not wrong though. If it's not right, if you're not being a jerk about it, and you tell them, look, I appreciate you. It's different. It's a different situation. But if you go over there guns a blazing, my coffee's wrong. You totally screwed this up. How do you think they're going to feel? If you made a mistake, how would you feel if someone came over being a dink like that? It's bad enough if they made a mistake. Maybe they're having a long day. Who knows what's happening in their life? But I said, this just doesn't taste like, what I wanted or ordered. And she's like, "Oh, I'm sorry. I can remake it for you. Do you want to keep that one?" Really? That easy? No, I don't really want this one, but yeah, I'll take a new one. And it was amazing. And I told her after that, I said, spot on, perfect. Thank you. I appreciate you for remaking that. It's all about navigating a situation. There is a lot of people with their arms up right now, ready to punch somebody out or yell at somebody or whatever it is. We've got enough stuff that we're trying to deal with inside. Let's step back and focus on that and be comfortable with yourself. Be comfortable with asking if something is wrong on an order and doing it properly, or just, etiquette goes a long way. Please and thank you manners are huge even in this kind of time. And our younger generations are seeing this stuff too. Let's try to set an example for them to lead later on in life. But yeah, you are 100%. Take that job. Try something new. If it scares the hell out of you, I've heard this before. Scares the hell out of you, you are going in the right direction. And it doesn't matter what age you are. Like I said, 40, leveling up. But I have so many dreams and things that I do want to do. I want that different car instead of the one that's sitting out in the driveway. Do I respect and I'm not probably respected as much as I should have because it's falling apart. But I know that now. Okay, I learned that lesson. I learned that hard lesson of, if you're going to have something nice, make sure that you have the money to be able to keep up with it. But, sometimes you can't. Sometimes you can only afford what you can afford and what you have. But to be blessed to have not just one, but three, they may not all be working, but it's still a huge blessing.
Shout out to Hannah Lore. She pointed out the fact that the podcast was spelled incorrectly. So thank you, Hannah, for reminding me that needed to be fixed. It's all fixed now. So
Oh,
shout out to Hannah. She was in the studio last week, actually,
she was.
and she messaged me to not go into too many details. She's like, "Oh my God, that's exactly what I needed to hear."
And
So
that right there, it hits me in the heart, you guys. I don't know sometimes what I'm going to talk about, and this is new. This is all kind of still new to me, being in front of the mic alone by myself. And yes, I have Tony, chiming in and talking about some of the stuff that's happening on Twitch, YouTube when he's manning YouTube or whatever. And I appreciate that very much. And if he's got, questions or questions from you guys, it's awesome to be able to have that. But for the most part, here I am. I'm here by myself in front of the camera on the microphone, trying to put out a message to you guys that you can take with you this new week coming up, that you can look at and go, huh, I never really thought about that maybe. And yes, I am a small town girl from just a small town I grew up in, was born, raised. I was born, raised over in Cass City, and it is tiny. Nothing big. And I've always loved art. I've always loved music, writing, plays, everything that having to do with any kind of creativity, talent, stuff like that. And I never knew exactly what I was going to do with that because growing up in a small town and not being someone that wanted to go off to New York or run away to somewhere very big, how do you put that forward? Like, how do you just connect, you network, you find the people. If you have a dream and you don't know where to start, you can start researching online, connect with different people that job shadow. Even if you are at my age or whatever, you can still learn a lot. You can have a mentor. There's all kinds of things that you guys can do. Don't stop believing in yourself. Don't stop wanting to go after your goals. Don't stop trying to better your life, yourself, your relationships, not only with others, but within yourself, to be able to go, okay, maybe I made a mistake. Maybe I did say something wrong. Maybe instead of always just saying, I wasn't me, learn how to grow, to love on people, to accept love, to accept not everything is going to be perfect. There are going to be times when things are going to fall, and that's okay because that's life. We're meant to learn how to fall and get back up. It's not fun. I've got bumps and bruises and scars and everything from just in the 40 years that I've experienced, or 39 still, that I've experienced. And it's not been an easy thing. But I'm not going to stop because I've got a life to live. And, I tell you guys this all the time how important that is. How important it is to find what it is that you are wanting and to go after it. It's scary. One of the big influences that I've had, somebody introduced me to a book called, it's from Jen Sincero, You Are a Badass. And it was kind of funny. Yeah, there's a You Are a Badass Everyday book over there. It's kind of funny because it was somebody that I was working with that I connected with, and she came up to me and she said, "Have you read the book You Are a Badass?" And I was like, "No, no, I haven't." And I would joked about it at the time, and I'm not a cocky person by any means, but I was like, "I wrote it," and she kind of like looked at me. And I'm like, "No, I'm just kidding. I haven't read it." So she, introduced me to the fact that it was on YouTube and it was free to listen to. I don't think it is anymore, but you guys,
no,
if you
it's
get a
not.
chance, check it out. You can get the audiobook. I recommend the audiobook myself because she reads it herself. She's the writer. Jen Sincero also reads it to you guys. It is awesome if you're looking for some kind of inspiration to manifest and get the best possible life that you are wanting. She is a great person to listen to. Or you can pick up the book and read it, or go along, follow, do both. All of that money goes towards what she's trying to accomplish in her life, and that's amazing. So I also recommend just supporting others, paying for their stuff. Yes, I heard it free on YouTube before it was taken down, but Tony's purchased the book. I've looked into purchasing it, and they also have like I think a journal and a desk calendar or whatever
Yeah, something
she
like that.
does. And that's important. And that was part of my routine. And I haven't touched a whole lot. Here and there I have about like a routine and how important that is. That has helped me to start to grow in a better direction. Having a routine every morning and being able to be okay to stray from a routine every single day as well. To not go and do something totally different for the day, and then I always go back the next day if I did do that, and continue on doing my routine like I would normally. And it's important because it's helped me to remember appointments. It's helped me to be a little bit better on time. Not always on time. I'm still working on that. But you know what? Don't kick yourself. If you are somebody that has an issue with that, there's something else there that you have to figure out. There's a piece missing. Or maybe you just need to figure it out and get there on time, because if you did it for a job, they wouldn't be having it. So yeah, it's important to continue to start looking at your authentic self, no matter where you're at, what age you're at. Start figuring out the things that maybe you need work on, whether it be your health, maybe it's your attitude, maybe it's mental health, maybe it's you need to get creative movement in, something else that's going to help you advance further in your life for better. Because, people that are, athletes or stuff like that, they have a routine. Billionaires, millionaires, whatever, they all have routines. People that go for a raise and whatever, you have to get your mind right to be able to achieve those kinds of things. And that's kind of where I feel like I'm at right now, you guys. Not just because I'm like, oh no, I'm 40, I need to figure it out. No, it's because I've always had dreams and ideas, but I never felt comfortable enough or healthy enough to go after them. And here I am getting ready to go to have my birthday and go after these things, have that better vehicle or two, whatever it is, to not have to worry about sitting on the side of the road, figuring out what it is that I can contribute to have that better life, to, figure out where, even at this age, it's not like I'm trying to figure out where I belong, but how do I reach those goals and those passions that I have? Because there is a lot of passion there. I wouldn't be sitting here in front of you guys right now if I haven't gone through these kind of struggles, these kind of things, or felt so passionate about thriving and surviving. When you go through traumatic situations, it's easy to be able to go, okay, well, that really, really was tough or worse than anything I've ever experienced in my life. I'm just going to lay on the floor and give up. No, don't give up. You could have gone through one of the most horrible things. And who am I to tell you to not give up? Who am I to tell you that? Somebody else who has went through a situation to survive and thrive through. That's who I am. And I'm saying don't give up with my heart on my sleeve, because you deserve a better life, a chance, and you deserve so much more than where you were, the traumatic. You're more than a victim. You survived through something that horrible to go further and advance and to maybe help others. Maybe reach out to others. Maybe your story is what needs to be heard, and it happened because it needs to be heard so that you can help lift somebody else off the floor. I don't know. I don't know what your journey is. I'm still trying to figure out mine. I know that this is part of it. I know that Survivor Girl is the passion and what helps to push me forward, each week. I may not be here every week because I do have things that I deal with mentally, physically, just like everybody else does, but I'm trying my very best. I'm growing, and I'm trying to bring you guys something that will help you to continue to keep moving forward. And like I said before, I'm looking forward to getting more guests on the show, and I'm looking forward to getting more people, active and coming on the show to share their stories and their journey of thriving and surviving so that they're able to help connect with others who may need it. So I just want to thank you guys so very much for joining me again, whether I went off on a rant or however, but maybe it was something that spoke to you guys. Thank you for allowing me to be my authentic self, to help me to find my authentic self by taking off my makeup, by just being me sitting before you, by putting my heart on my sleeve, by admitting to you guys that I'm not perfect and that there's a lot of growing and a lot of things that I need to do. But I'm still here to help you guys continue to keep moving forward. And with that being said, I just want to tell you guys, life is best lived. We'll see you next Sunday.